All right, here we go.
Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's episode 164. This is Mike and Blaine. I'm Mike Mylan, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is my friend, my partner, the CEO and founder of DriveRun, the best cash flow forecasting software on the planet. Blaine Birch, what's up, man?
Good start. We're off to a racing start. I kind of like watching our little intro video, not just hearing it now, because I kind of get mesmerized watching it. I know I have to probably update it, but it is kind of fun to watch the video. So,
dude, you take the what the hell is that thing called? The theme, the theme song. Yeah, you take the theme song and the video. We've elevated. We've really moved this thing up, and the theme song is everlasting. It's like an evergreen song that we probably won't have to change.
Exactly. Like the video, I would change it. Like I'll do some different clips because I don't know, we look different after a while. But the song, man, it could be around for 100 years. People be playing it on their, I don't know what they do in 100 years.
You know that song. You know that song. They turned it around in like a day or like a day and a half. I bet it was AI. I bet they used AI somehow to do it. But that was 2 years ago.
It was a little too long ago because it was really before. Like I'm sure it was before chats and all of that stuff came out. So it would have been super early AI if they did.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe they, but who knows? But
there's probably 50 songs with the exact same tune though floating around.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Welcome to the car wash with your favorite car wash guys. The same song over and over.
They asked me. They said, "What do you want it to be like?" And what did I say? I said I wanted it today's modern hip hop with 70s funk or something like that.
Wasn't it 70s sitcom TV show, I think?
No, I said 70s funk, but when you merge 2020s hip hop with 70s funk, you get 90s sitcom.
Okay, so is that the accident?
Hey, nice. Sometimes you get lucky.
Exactly. Sometimes you get lucky, and sometimes it's pure logic.
There you go. So funny that's what we're going to be talking about today. Is it luck? Is it logic? And I've got some stories, man. I tell you, I went to Disneyland last week. If you're listening, we normally record live on Thursdays. This is a Tuesday, right? It's a Tuesday, and why? Because I screwed up the schedule last week. I'm screwing it up this week. I'm going to a pitch competition on Thursday, so I can't be here for the recording, but I don't want to miss it. This is my favorite part of the week, and I don't want to miss it.
Oh, as long as we dig in every week, it's because I don't want to miss it either. And there is going to be one time late this month where we're actually going to play a rerun because both you and I are on the road at the same time. And so, but that's a rarity. I don't like to miss. And I'm glad we only miss like literally one or two all year. So, yeah, it's too much fun.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right. So, hey, what are you drinking today? What do you got going on? It's luck versus logic or luck and logic. So, what do you got?
Yeah. So okay. First of all, I was looking in my fridge, and logic said that we're leaving for Scottsdale pretty soon, and our beer fridge is almost empty. There wasn't a whole lot of choice. So that's the logic side of how I picked it. The luck side is if I actually pronounce this right, Traquair Jacobite Ale out of Scotland. And this brewery has been around since 1745. I have no idea if I pronounced that right, but it is ale brewed with coriander and fermented in oak barrels. So there you go. It's pretty old-timey looking stuff. So
hey, I know that's a J, but I'm in Texas. I read that as Taco Bite.
Oh, that's a better name. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
this was
Traquair
Taco Bite.
Yeah. That's like mango meat. That's the old Taco Bite going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And we will dive into our beer sponsors right away, but that was Neighbor Pat's mango meat beer. So Mike, what do you got going here?
All right, so I got to tell you, and part of today's topic, because we always choose a topic like right before this thing goes off live. I had this in the fridge, so I'm like, oh, that might be fun to do. Have you seen this before?
I haven't had it in years. At one time, I bought a bunch of them just because I thought the bottle was so fun.
Right?
But boy, I haven't had it in years. Man, yeah.
It is the Lucky Buddha beer, right? And I'm like going, man, I got to get that for the bottle. Look at that. On the 6-pack thing that it comes with, the container it comes with, it says, bad luck or good luck. It's your choice, right? So I'm like going,
nice.
So we're going to have the Lucky Buddha today. So that's what we're doing. So how about our beer sponsors?
That just says it all. Bad luck or good luck, it's your choice.
It's your choice. Yeah.
I love it. And it comes from a beer. That's even better. Yeah. So our beer sponsors, okay. We got a nice run of beer sponsors right now. We got 7 right now. And I'm gonna top it because I just on my list right at the top, I have Devin. Second week of his 3 weeks. Devin was introduced by one of our other beer sponsors who we're not supposed to mention. So I will. Mike's wife, Courtney. Thanks again, Courtney. We promise not to mention you on the show again. Yeah. And thanks, Devin. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's right. No, let's not mention Courtney and that she's a beer sponsor. Courtney is a beer sponsor. Did you guys know that? Don't say it, though. Don't tell anybody.
Not going to mention it. It'll keep that one on the down low.
That's right. So, well, good. Hey, and we already talked about Neighbor Pat. Neighbor Pat never fails to deliver. This guy, not only does he, sponsor it, he talks about us. He wears our gear, right? We have merch. This guy wears merch. I've seen him in our podcast T-shirts. You can get your own, right? You can be just like Neighbor Pat. Go to mikeandblade.com, get your merch, get your T-shirt, and man, I tell you what, they're good looking shirts. Believe it or not.
Great looking shirts, and we've got, except for the one that's on the main part of the website, this weird flesh colored T-shirt. Don't buy that one. But the white ones and the black ones look really good. And we also have like mugs and all kinds of. I love the mugs, actually. Super cool stuff. But that's also where you can buy some beer. So if you go to mikeandblade.com, $5 to buy us a beer. If you buy multiple weeks, we will mention you every week that you're a sponsor. So it's like the cheapest way to get mentioned on a podcast to get a little buzz for your business or just get mentioned. You can buy some beer at mikeandblade.com.
There you go. Hey, so speaking of, I'm going to talk about Jackie York. She lives in Hawaii. I mean, you can't feel bad for a person that lives in Hawaii, right? You're like going, oh yeah, she needs business. She needs you to go to Blooming CFO and check her out, Dude, I'm telling you what, she lives in Hawaii. So she's pretty good at this flower stuff, by the way. She runs, if you got a landscaping business, if you got a cannabis business, man, she can do accounting for that. And believe it or not, this is what I found out, Blaine, that cannabis accounting is tough. It's tough. There's all kinds of regulations you have to go to, so don't get in trouble. I know this is a thing that's kind of a gray area crossover thing. You don't want to get in trouble. Get Jackie York involved with your business today.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the same path, talking about CPAs that can help you with your business, Larry Weinstein in Houston. You gotta talk with Larry if you need a CPA, and you don't have to be in Houston, but he is the Cashflow Cowboy, and you just go over to, is it Cashflow Ranch?
Yeah, the Cowboys on the ranch.
Cashflowranch.com. Yep. And
there you go.
Find Larry.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, if you've opened up your QuickBooks and you go, what the hell's going on here? How do I mess with this thing? What do I do with this QuickBooks stuff? Rachel Barnett over at Gentle Frog. She can teach anybody in the world QuickBooks. She knows how to talk about it. She knows how to teach you about it. Contact her and you'll learn more about QuickBooks than you ever thought you would in a matter of days.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rachel. And last but definitely not least is the other Mike Milan, Baltimore Mike, who has hand-delivered beer to us. Thanks again, Mike. We always appreciate the beer. And I did notice a bunch of texts coming in this week, but it was a holiday here in Canada and a bunch of family stuff. So I did not have time to get back to you guys. But yeah. So
No, that's normally that's normally what we do. If I see us from Baltimore, Mike, I usually you sit on it for a while. Don't respond for a while. I just ignore it for who knows how long. I mean, who knows what this guy wants? Hey, speaking of Baltimore, Mike, though, I got to tell you what, he sent me a reel this week, and I'm like going, is that true? Could that be true? And I'm going to talk a little bit about that when we go into Luck and Logic. But it was his, yeah. It was his reel that sent me down a rabbit hole. You ever got one? You're like going, that shit can't be true. And you're like, oh my God, it's pretty close though. So he sent me a reel earlier. I think it was yesterday, as a matter of fact, that I'm like going, we got to talk about this. I even brought it up in class today over at Trinity. And I'm thinking, let's talk about luck versus logic. And you're going to go, how does this story connect? Well, I think they got a little lucky. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. That's where this came up with. So, Are you ready to dig in?
Let's do it.
Hey, cheers
Dive
to you.
in. All right. Cheers and Lucky Buddha.
And Lucky Buddha. So here's the story. I can't tease it and not talk about it. Now I'm also going to talk about an experience that I had in Disneyland last week, right? I said Disneyland, not Disney World. And it was a really cool story. So I'll talk about my trip there as well. But Mike Mile in Baltimore, Mike, sent me a video of a guy claiming that Coca-Cola invented the modern day Santa Claus, right? And he had this whole story laid out. You saw it? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do remember reading about that. Yeah.
So I'm like going, that's fucking genius. If they did that, that's genius. So I looked it up. It's only about 50% correct, right? So what this guy is saying and what I think I researched is only about 50% correct. But let's kind of dig into that. If you saw it, I saw it. And what we're talking about is Coca-Cola had a seasonality problem that I didn't realize this, right? That's where it kind of all started. And that's true. That part is true. They had a seasonality problem where people would drink Coca-Cola. And by the way, it was like cocaine cola, or it had cocaine in it, but they didn't call it cocaine cola. It was just still Coca-Cola. But see, and he calls it cocaine cola in the video, and it wasn't called cocaine cola that I can tell. But so anyway, what happened is that most people looked at this as a refreshing drink, something, you pour over a little bit of ice, it's hot outside, you have a Coca-Cola, and it refreshes you. Mm-hmm. So when do most people buy it? Well, when it's hot outside. When it's hot outside. So they had most of their sales come in the warm weather. They had a lack of sales, or they had a significant drop off, enough for them to go, let's go ahead and try to figure out how can I increase sales in, the colder weather. So they introduced an advertising campaign. Now, I'm going to tell you, seasonality isn't just for Coca-Cola, right? Like landscapers. They did the exact same thing. Remember? I mean, they're cutting lawn, raking leaves, those type of things. And they go, what do we do in the winter? Some of them will go and shovel snow. But in some places, you can't shovel snow. In Texas, you're going to go out of business real fast if you have a snow shoveling business, right? Yep. So they put up Christmas lights. We're still doing that. That's what they'll do. They'll come around, the landscape company will put up Christmas lights, and they'll store them for you all year long. And they just come back year after year after year and put them up. Good recurring business, great stuff. That's how they solved it. So let me hear what you think about that video, and then I'll go back and tell you about our research. So
I've never seen the video. I've never seen the video. Okay. I read about.
You heard the story.
Yeah, honestly, I think I heard about it back in probably when I was in university. I was doing I did a couple different design degrees there. I'm guessing in my undergrad, probably something along the lines of marketing, advertising is where I stumbled across it, right? Or where I read about it. And like Coca-Cola did not invent Santa Claus, but before Coca-Cola, it was basically Father Christmas. It was not, they weren't in malls. They weren't like that it was a character, but it really, I don't think, had nearly the reach. And they sort of branded this Santa Claus, which is why he's red and white. And that momentum that they got from that is started to build up. And so now it's like when you think of Santa Claus as red and white, that's actually because of Coca-Cola, because I think Father Christmas before was not tied to colors like that necessarily. And when you see Santa Claus in the mall and everywhere else, the ember that started that fire, I think, was Coca-Cola in a lot of ways. Now that's what I recall. This was going back a while.
No, I mean that's super close to what the story is or what the thought process is, and this is where what led me to Luck is that not only did they increase sales in the wintertime, they changed the whole economy of the world. Now let me go back and explain. That's where I said you got a little lucky, right? You didn't advertise a campaign to sell more cola in December. And all of a sudden, you change the way the world thinks about a holiday. This is what So this is
they didn't set out to do that. You're right. Like all those Santa Clauses and all those malls, that was luck. That wasn't somebody in a boardroom planning that. They just caught, like I said, it was a little ember that somehow caught fire, right?
Yeah. So the way we look at Santa Claus today is really a consolidation of three different versions of Santa Claus. You said it, Father Christmas. There was also a Saint Nick, and then there was also a guy named Kris Kringle.
Oh, I thought they were all the same name for different names for the same person. I didn't realize that. Okay,
three different people with three different characteristics. What they did. One had a giving spirit. The other one, forget Father Christmas. Wasn't he putting stuff in shoes or putting shoes out for kids at the doors? Something like that. Wasn't that what Father Christmas was?
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Well, and I don't remember them all, but they all had distinct characteristics. And well before Coca-Cola in 1930s, this happened in 1930s. So well before that, these three people existed, but in browns and then, just regular clothing, as whatever they were in the 14, 15, 1600s, all the way through. I think it was Kris Kringle. It might have been another one. The guy says in the video, and I think he's right. The third one was a thief, but he was a chimney sweep, right? So he had the ability to kind of dislocate his shoulders or something like that. That's why he was a chimney sweep, and he could clean chimneys and go down a chimney, but he wasn't leaving shit. He was taking shit.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
So he was actually robbing you. But he could fit up and down a chimney, so you got robbed, but you had a clean chimney.
Yeah. Now you bribe him with cookies.
That's right. That's maybe where all this comes from, right? So this modern day Santa Claus, all of those ones that we're talking about, Father Christmas, Saint Nick, and all that, they were all kind of slender characters. There's not a lot of fat characters, in the olden age.
Yeah.
They were all slender characters. So what Coca-Cola did is to say, hey, listen, we need to sell more. We're going to attach ourselves to Christmas. Now, prior to 1930, Christmas wasn't a big deal. Wasn't, right? This guy says it right. And if you go back and look, you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. That Christians weren't as impressed with the birth of Christ as they were the death of Christ, where he was resurrected. So think about that. They're like, hey, of course he was born. But the dude died and came back. So Easter was actually the one that was the biggest holiday all prior in the 1800s. I mean, all before. Christmas was still there. You still celebrated, but it wasn't about a massive amount of consumerism, of spending, of buying and going out and, actually, buying like we do today, right? I mean, if you look at any of the old images, they didn't have like gifts, crazy amounts like I've seen, in modern times today. They have a moderate or a mediocre tree, just a modest tree with a couple little things, maybe a stocking. That was it. Today, it's about the consumerism. So that's the change in the whole economy is from that. So what they did was they took the red and the white because that was the brand colors.
Mhm.
They also changed the shape from slender to a more robust because it's more jolly. It's more approachable. It's more friendly.
It also
And-
probably connects with this is what happens if you drink a lot of Coca-Cola. You can be jolly.
Yeah. So, and then they added some pink to the cheeks. They also, these folks in the olden photos were younger. They aged him as well. Why? To put more white in the picture, the red versus the white image.
Oh,
So they actually aged Santa Claus to be like that. And then, of course, all the other stories developed around that. Well, that's what got me going. It was an advertising campaign where Santa Claus basically says, "Hey, hats off to these guys. You know, they're doing it right." And I always pause for a refreshing Coca-Cola. And it had Santa Claus with a Coke in his hand. That's why you see over the last 100 years, there's always a campaign around Santa Claus because they're trying to sell more Coca-Cola. It's not just for hot weather. You can drink it around Christmas too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I've got a different part of that, and I've been talking a lot, but how much of that do you think is BS? The beer. Yeah.
Well, I don't think I think not a whole lot. Like really, they took an idea and they put a lot of money behind it and they got into people's psyche. And then there was obviously a lot of luck. And there probably was a lot of timing and a bunch of things that came together and made this explosion basically happen. Because I suppose it probably wasn't just like, would Christmas still be what it is in 1929 or whatever if there was no Coca-Cola and Santa Claus? Well, probably not. Like I expect there probably was a little bit of interest or momentum, but this is what really lit it up, like and gave it personality and story, right?
Well, right at that point in time, 1930, you got to remember that's at the very front end of the Great Depression too. And Coke for a nickel is like a luxury. I mean, if you think about it, yeah, it's a luxury, but it's when you're like, oh, that's a kind of a splurge I can have. It's like a little treat. Yeah, it's an affordable luxury. So it's one of those things where the Christmas we know today didn't just happen on the 30th, or 1930, but that's when Coca-Cola decided to do it.
Yeah. It's a really great story, and I think there was an awful lot of luck. And when we talk about luck, how much of that was luck that they hit the note right, and how much of luck is timing? How much of luck is there's a bunch of things that kind of come together. It's like a little spider web. They all sort of come together for some reason, because I don't think it could do it just completely isolated. They put a picture up of Santa Claus on a billboard, their version of Santa Claus, and somehow the world goes bonkers. There had to be more to it than that, right?
Well, yeah, but it wasn't immediate bonkers. It was like those guys in the boardroom probably said, hey, we sold more Coke. They didn't see what was going to happen. Most of those folks are gone. It was the 70s and 80s and all that changed. But what happened over the 50s and 60s, I mean, think about the movie The Christmas Story. All of a sudden, Christmas in that, and they're talking about the 50s, I think, then. So in the 50s, now Christmas is becoming more and more part of our culture. It's becoming a bigger part of spending, where people now have window displays about toys and gifts and those type of things. That's the change that they impacted, that they probably, and not directly, it was an indirect impact, but that this Christmas thing became a bigger part of everyone's lives. So much so, I say it changed the world, because what happened in the 80s, we'll say 70s and 80s, Christmas exploded. I remember my dad saying, "You got way more stuff than we ever got my whole life." He was a kid of the 50s, right? Yeah. 50s, 60s, and like going, you guys are spoiled, right? All of a sudden, the 70s, 80s kids are the start of this commercialism of us buying more, of us going out and wanting to consume more and more. Oh, I got to have this commercial or this toy because it was on Bozo the Clown Show, or it was on whatever. I gotta have it. Well, you got one?
A little bit of BS.
Okay.
I'm curious, if you think back, what Christmas presents do you remember as a kid that actually, is there one that stands out? Just out like out of blue. What's the first one that snaps in your mind as I remember that one?
A bowling ball. That's the weirdest one. I mean, I remember a ton of them, but the bowling ball was I was like 10 years old. They had just got me in a bowling league that we could do in the winter time, in Illinois. And this one had my initials on it. It was a brown swirly color. So I wasn't using the lane balls anymore, with the house balls anymore.
Yep.
I had a brown swirly ball with my initials on it that I had my own bag now. I had my own shoes. That whole setup came that Christmas.
Yeah, M&M. Bowling ball.
The brown ones. Nobody likes the brown M&Ms.
The brown M&Ms.
So
when you mentioned Christmas, like and presents and that in the 70s and 80s, there's two things that popped. The first thing that popped in my mind was when Transformers first came out, and I got like an Optimus Prime Transformer, the red truck one.
Yeah.
And then I remembered a number of years before that, and this is probably the first one I really remember, was like a box of Lego. But it's not like today's Lego. Back then, it was a box of Lego that were like just the bricks. Like green, blue, red, yellow bricks in different shapes and sizes. And then maybe some of the flat panels. And I remember that one because I think Lego must have been, relatively new. You weren't getting like kits of stuff. You're getting blocks, right? But I do remember that. Those two stand out. Out of all of those years, those two stand out.
Yeah, there was probably some other stuff that where I would play. That they had these water games. You remember the water game where you push a button, you try to get rings. You try to get rings on a hook. You remember that?
Yep, totally. I would never.
I spent hours on that
years, but yeah.
Sat there and played with that, and at the same time, my dad's got race cars going around the living room, stuff like that. I spent all the ones with the little trigger. It was like a trigger. I mean, that would fly off the track.
Yeah.
And my dad's like going, and I spent all this time putting this stuff together and thinking this is gonna be the coolest thing, and then you're playing with the water thing. It's like, you can't believe that's where I spent my time.
And I would never have even remembered that water thing, but as soon as you say it, not only can I picture it, I can even feel when you push the button, and it kind of pushes the rings up.
Yeah. All right, what was that? Luck or Logic? Think about the whole game. The whole game. Yeah. Like, I never shook it though, because I thought that was cheating. So if you shook it, like you're trying to get it that way. So I tried to get it with just the push the button.
Yeah. Now, anyway, off a little bit of BS here in our.
All right, so here's the change, I think, to the world. In the late 80s, early 90s, more so in the 2000s, other religions started to get into the December celebration mode because Christmas dominated for like 20 years straight, just dominated, right? Matter of fact, I had friends that were Jewish that would tell their parents, I want a Christmas tree. How come we don't get presents? I mean, I feel bad for them. I don't know. That's just what we do. That's what you do. Yeah. So all of a sudden, other religions started to promote their holiday during that time a little bit more and created a great way to diversify and expand out because they didn't want one religion to dominate there. So they say, we do stuff during December too. We just didn't make it commercialized like you have. But that's why you got Kwanzaa and Hanukkah and, all these other ones now that we know and aware of. In the 80s, I wasn't aware of any of those. Now I am. So, it was very, I think it exploded on the world stage. And that's where I think the biggest connection to Coke modernizing Santa led to an economic change in the world.
Yeah. And think of yourself as a business owner. That's luck. You don't
That's
like all of a
luck.
sudden it's like
That's luck.
your sales, like like you said, it's more of a commercialism type thing. So it's not that maybe people bought more in December. They likely just bought more outright, and a lot of it was in December. And you have actually a sales bump into December that you can start to rely on every year, right?
Yeah. Hey, you know when you can't have luck? It's when you're trying to manage your cash flow, right? We can't leave that to chance. We can't leave that to luck. You have to be able to see what's in front of you and make those critical decisions at the right time to put cash in your pocket and make sure you're never, never in a position where you can't pay your bills. How would you do that over at Dry Run?
Well, you got to use Dry Run. That's how you do it. And I will tell you that then there's a lot of finance teams out there, CFOs they're buried in spreadsheets, and they're buried in spreadsheets every week. And when you have multiple people on your team buried in spreadsheets every week, the numbers start to pile up, but so does the annoyance. And by the time it gets to the management team, it's late week and you're trying to make critical decisions for your business, right? So come and talk with us at Dry Run. If you are doing cash flow in a spreadsheet, whether it's your business and you're just doing your own cash flow every week and trying to keep track of that ARAP and who owes you what and what's late, or if you're a bit of a bigger business and you got multiple people involved, that's when we can really pick up the slack for you. So come and visit us at dryrun.com. We will save you a ton of time and also give you something that management can understand and they'll love, because it helps point the direction for the business.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I can't say enough good things about Dry Run. If you're not using it, if you're the type of person that's out there and you have a complex situation and you just want better insight into what's happening with cash in your organization, get in contact Dry Run today. So.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you know, that's what I'm here for. All right, so
King of segues.
Hey, one of my better ones. If you go back 164 times, that's probably one of my better ones.
That was a nice one. That was a good one. I may have to cut that piece out and use it. That was
yeah. It's one of those things where if a guy just sticks to his knitting, he can really nail it.
Yeah. Better than last week. Moderately better than last week.
Yeah, there we go. So I know you're going to try to stick the other one in somewhere. So you're probably going to force it and it won't feel right. There you go.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think the standard has to be a little bit higher than what we've pulled off the last few weeks. So we have talked a lot about, well, like an example of like how Coca-Cola, like this, how this sort of caught fire and went on its own. But what have you experienced in your business life, business world, that was luck versus logic? Like, where did luck, because that logic you can kind of read a little bit more, but the luck or the logic side, luck side, where did you see that in your business? Drive some growth, drive some energy, do something for your business that you were a little surprised at.
Well, I'll tell you. Gotta remember back in the 1900s when I left the Highway Patrol, I started a janitorial company. I was being a janitor. That was kind of capped. It seems like I couldn't grow as fast, as far, as much as I wanted because every contract I had to buy equipment. I had to hire people. There was always something where it was slow growth. And we grew pretty fast. We grew to almost $3 million in 3 years there. But that wasn't what we were trying to do because it was just hard work. It was 7 days a week. It was always, you were always wrong. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but janitors are always wrong. You miss a cobweb, you miss it. Nobody says, "Oh my God, this place looks great. Janitor's doing great." They always say, "My pen's missing. Somebody took candy out of my bowl." So, I'm not kidding. I mean, you got to remember, at that point in time, I came as a state trooper. Am I going, you guys really complain about this? Like that cobweb bothered you or that piece of paper bothered you that they missed it or whatever it was. They didn't pull it out of the can or it was tucked behind a desk and they didn't see it because they only vacuum once a week, not every day. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe the pettiness of how people would beat up on janitors. And that really sits with me on how I talk to people today, because I was talked to that way.
Mm-hmm.
The luck came in when I had one of my janitorial clients go, "Hey, I'm leaving." He was the general manager of a cable television, right? Where it's like an AT&T store where you bought your cable subscriptions. Back then, you couldn't just do it over the internet. You had to go into a place or call a place and come out and talk to you. Well, he says, "I have a hotel management degree and I've been offered a position to be a general manager at an Embassy Suites." And what I realized the first month that I went there is that it's hard to find people, but you always seem to have the people. I just need people for a little bit here and there. Can you help me out? That was luck, right? Think about that. I never planned on it. I never thought about it. Nothing. It was just a guy went and says, "Hey, I know Mike. Mike seems to be able to recruit. Maybe he can give me a couple people on a temporary basis from his cleaning squad, because I need people to clean around the hotel and change beds and those type of things."
Mm-hmm.
That was the invention of this hotel staffing company that changed my life. Right. Now, it was hard work after that, but it was luck getting the idea to begin with. And the luck came from just being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
But I think everybody on this call would agree that when luck meets preparation, that's when everything happens.
Yeah, I'll take one little step back from that. Even the preparation side, I'm going to go back to, if I think of all the times that I feel like we've been lucky for some reason. Now there were times where there was that preparation, like we suddenly would land a client that we weren't expecting, and it really would move you forward. And they found us sometimes, right? But if I really think of the times that I feel luck was involved, almost every time it's exactly what you said. It's a relationship. That seems to breed luck. When you get referrals and you see an opportunity and you hear about a job and you hear about this thing and you get this da-da-da. So many times it's actually, it's through a person. It's not just like flipping a coin. It's a person. It's a relationship with somebody, and it feels lucky. But when you look and go, yeah, but you know what? In that little period of time, I talked with maybe hundreds of people, or I've all these people I talk with, and one or two of them, something seemed like we got really lucky because of it. And how much of it is, like you said, it's when people come across you, when there's an opportunity there, you're prepared. You've got the product, you've got the service, you've got whatever. But boy, it's amazing how much luck you get when you cultivate relationships.
Well, over a Finnegraph, I mean, I've told you how I got lucky with that. I don't know how many times. I met a guy in San Jose from Moody's Analytics, San Jose, California. Went dark after great conversations, and then ran into another person at a rooftop bar, the Copacabana in New York City, who just happened to be his replacement. Like going, if the universe isn't talking to you right then, saying, "No, I know that something bad happened here. Let me give you another shot." If the universe didn't talk to you then, I don't know. There's nothing I could have done to prepare for those two meetings.
Except that if you weren't in the right place and being out there basically meeting people, probably meeting neither, and you actually needed both.
We needed both. Yeah, we needed both.
And I've had experiences like that where, some of our biggest clients during my creative agency days, it was just from networking and then getting an introduction, and then referrals and everything. And they feel so lucky, but then you look at kind of how much work and is it luck or is it volume? like this. So there is a thing where it's like, if you open up one opportunity, your chances probably aren't great. You open up 100 opportunities, you shouldn't be surprised when 1 or 2 come through, or 3 or 4 or whatever, right? So there is a point where it's like you make your own luck by being in the, like you said, the right place at the right time in front of the right people. But there's still just this element of luck that somehow we got into the next guy over didn't, for whatever reason, right?
All right, so this luck versus value type of thing, playing the numbers. Here's a story. I normally take Mozzie. Mozzie is a French bulldog that lives here and controls our lives. So I normally take him out back because he's got plenty of yard. He does his business and all those type of things. But at night before he goes to bed, I'll take him out front because there's nobody out there, no cars, and I'll just take him out there and give him a new sense of freedom, right? And I got him trained where he won't go too far left, too far right, those type of things. Courtney hates it. Hates it. I take him out front. Like, on one of these days, you're going to regret taking him out there. One of these days. So here's what happened. You got to remember, that's on my mind. Like, oh man, something bad's going to happen. Like, I'm going to let him out. He's going to run out there. Something bad's going to happen. And who knows? Raccoons sitting out there. Who knows what's going to happen? So 2 nights ago, I don't take him out front. I'm like going, Courtney said don't take him out front because something bad is going to happen. I take him out back. So when I take him out back, I'm coming down the steps towards the pool. He's already down in the yard, and I see him dart across the yard. I say, oh, what is it? And all of a sudden, I see a black shadow across the back fence. And it's gone. I don't see it climb up the fence. I don't see it climb up a tree. It's just gone because now because I've been at Disney, I didn't see the holes, the tunnels underneath these fences. This thing had been coming in and out while we were gone. Oh, what's that? So I'm sitting up there. He comes back. I mean, it happened like that fast. I'm probably 50 feet away from him. He's acting weird out in the yard, rolling on his back, rubbing his face on the grass, those type of things. Just keeps over and over. I've never seen him act like this before. I'm like, hey, what's going on with you? So I go down the steps, start walking towards him. I'm like going, oh shit, skunk.
I was wondering.
So I'm like going, oh shit, I got help because I mean it's bad. I mean just bad. He got sprayed right in the face with skunk, right? So he's freaking out. I go up to kind of grab stuff in the kitchen. He flies in, gets in the house real quick, and I grab him and pull him back outside. Dude, that brief interaction ruined my house for a day. And dude, I'm 2 days later, I still can't get skunk off my hands from holding the dog, right? And we bathed them. We went and you want to talk about a product that needs to be urgent that you probably should have in your house? It's skunk odor remover. It took us a whole day. And we're just we're mixing homemade remedies like hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, and water and all this, trying to clean this dog. Was it luck or was it volume? Because I've taken him out front 100 times or more, 500 times. I don't take him out back that often at night where all the trees and all the weird stuff is, And the one time I take him out back because I don't want him to get hurt in the front, guess what happens? It makes our house stink for a week.
Yeah. Now, you said you saw holes burrowed and things like that.
After.
Yeah. But
because I'm like, oh, what the hell? Yeah.
It may have actually just been again, a bit of a volume thing. Like it's a matter of time before it's going to get sprayed by a skunk that is now coming into your yard regularly. Just happened to be the first time. Yeah,
because we were in Disneyland. Those holes weren't there, but we went away for a week. came back. Now I got a skunk digging under the fence. And if you don't know what it looks like, it's about a 4-inch wide, burrow and probably 2.5, 3 inches deep.
Yep.
Comes right underneath the fence.
Yeah, that's bad luck. We haven't even got into bad luck. We've been talking mostly sort of about good luck, but that's kind of bad luck. But I do like I think there's a bit of like we've talked about this before. Sometimes it's just like it's pattern recognition, right? That when you see good luck, you're recognizing something that, oh man, if that hadn't happened, this wouldn't have happened. But you block out like a million things that were sort of inconsequential, right? And then something you recognize that's a bit of an outlier. And at some point you're going to get those outliers, right? But I think there are some things that are just like a bit of pure dumb luck, either bad or good. Like you opened up a shop and for whatever reason, like Christmas became a big thing. Or what if you opened up like a toy store and man, I bought 5 times as much Cabbage Patch dolls that I probably should have because I ordered wrong. And that was the year that the Cabbage Patch doll like exploded or something. So there is luck that sort of comes about, but I'm just convinced that a lot of those opportunities, a lot of it happens because you build your own opportunities, and you build your own opportunities by making sure, like being out there and making sure people know who you are, and you're talking with a lot of people. And when something hits, it feels like a lot of good luck, but there's usually a lot of work and a lot of time, like timing. Yeah. But even that, did you read the timing right? So I don't know.
I don't know that anybody can read timing right. I think you get lucky, right? You can see some of the things falling into place and go, I think this is going to happen.
Yeah.
But you get lucky with the timing of it, right? Because you could miss it by 2 days and be, past, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've done that with just stock trades. Am I going, if I hit this right, I should be able to make money, and then I lose money because I miss it because it goes up and then it goes back down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the universe does talk to you. I'm convinced. I am with Courtney today because the universe talks to you, right? We've talked about how the story we met, any one little thing could have threw it off and I wouldn't have met her. So I'm going to say, you can make your own luck if you listen to the things that are put in front of you.
I think it's taking advantage of the opportunity, like taking advantage of the luck, recognizing it. Sometimes it's literally just recognizing the luck. Because how many times, especially in business, if you get on a real, like on a path where you're just like, it's logic. Logic is going, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. And there's opportunities coming right at you and you're kind of pushing them away because it's like, my logic's telling me this. Are there times where you logic your way out of taking advantage of a lucky break that's landed right in your lap?
Yeah, but the logic you're talking about is pattern recognition. You think that way because you've seen it before. If you have some gut instinct that this is going to line up in a certain way. Luck, I think, is really unexpected. I think.
Yeah.
Right? Because if not, I'd like to think I have a lot of bad luck. Meaning like, I was hoping that would happen, but I'm just smoking hopium at the same time.
Yeah, it's okay. If you if you recognize that you feel like, I've got a lot of bad luck or a lot of good luck, how much of it is glass half full and glass half empty?
Oh, that's a good question. Glass half full, glass half empty. Which one do you think you are most of the time?
If you ask me, are you glass half full, glass half empty? I'm just like, I'm a half a glass. That's how I answer it. I'm logically speaking, that's how I view it. Is like, it's just a half a glass.
So you
It's a
think,
fact of life.
yeah, but that seems super pessimistic
I don't. Why would it be pessimistic?
because you don't even think you have a full glass.
No,
Don't
like
think
if they
you
put a glass of water in front of you and it was literally at the halfway mark, and then the thing is, well, how do you see that? Oh, it's half full. Then you're supposedly optimistic. Well, it's half empty. You're pessimistic, and I just look at it and go, it's a half a glass of water. Like, this is
Yeah.
what it is. Like,
That I
That's
think
what it
that's
is.
hyper. I think it's hyper pessimistic. Oh, we got chats.
what do you think? It's hyper pessimistic. Like
I
to
think
me,
it
I'm
is.
just like it's realistic. That's all it is. It's like I'm agnostic to whether I'm positive or negative. It's just there's nothing positive or negative about that. Like if it's a half a glass of water, is it positive that it's a half a glass or negative? Well, it depends if you're drinking it or spilling it, right?
Oh, okay. So it's a different variable. Is you have to introduce a second variable before you can make a decision.
Exactly. It's benign. Like I'm agnostic. It's a half a glass of water. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Depends on other factors that we have not yet seen. So I don't know. That's how I picture it. I guess I'm a bit of a realist, maybe. I don't know.
How would you buy a new jean jacket? It's just a jean jacket until you do what?
Till I do what?
Well, yeah, because the way you're talking about it, it's just a glass of water. It's just a half a glass of water until I need to spill it or I need to. What was the other thing?
Spill it or drink it.
Spill it or drink it. So,
Yeah.
so how do you using that same logic with a jean jacket like you got on now, the coolest one ever from Japan? How would you choose a jean jacket? There's a few of them on the wall.
Well, yeah. Well, as my wife would put it, I researched the fun out of it. That's how I came up with this jacket. So I researched the living shit out of it, and then and I didn't pick this off the wall. I ordered it from Japan. So that's, anyway. So there was very much, I think, a logic. Well, there's a logic based, but the final step is emotion, right? Like when you're buying something, like you buy an emotion. Now, okay, this is a good example. When I bought my last car, like I look at all, like I research the hell out of it. I look at all the specs and I look at all that kind of stuff. And a friend of mine last weekend was showing us their new car, and they said they bought it without test driving it or seeing it even. But I think they bought it on what they saw and the specs and everything else. And they're not like, they said, yeah, it's great, because they're not sort of they don't. He didn't say, he's like, I'm not a car guy, but that. So I do that, but that's the prereq stuff. Then the decision is all test drive, all of it. So I test drove everything. And then, so I'd done a bunch of logic work, right? But then when I got to the end and actually picked the cars, because my wife's like, yeah, I couldn't peel the smile up your face, right? Like it was an emotional purchase.
Yeah.
I cut it down to these 6 or 8 cars or vehicles or whatever, based on researching the fun out of it. But then it was the fun part that gets me over the line, right?
Yeah. So it seems like it doesn't matter if it's vehicles or jean jackets or for diddle hoppers, you will just take the fun right out of it.
You just stole my thunder, because I
For the
literally
win.
had one. I had one
For the win.
teed up. I had one teed up for the comment we got from Michael. Can we expect any Easter eggs this episode? And I was about to tee up the old Fliddle Hopper, and you beat me to it with one sentence early.
Hey, is it luck or is it timing or is it logic? I can see where you were going. I could see it. I'm going, are we playing chess or checkers here? Like, because it seems like it's checkers at this point in time.
Something tells me we're not playing a lot of chess on this show.
So, hey, one of my favorite things is that Baltimore Mike, like usual, throws a wrench in everything and wants to chat with us in the last 3 minutes of the show.
He wants to know if there's any Easter eggs in this episode.
You have to go back and watch. Might be. Because we talked a lot about Baltimore Mike right up front.
Yeah, so
This whole episode was about you. First half of the episode was all about you.
Yeah, you missed it, Mike. You missed the nothing but Mike first half.
It really was. Remember, it was all about something he sent me on Instagram. That's what started the whole thing. So
That's true. That's true. Thank you, Mike, for the topic idea.
for the inspiration. So yeah, it was good. You have to go back and listen. But
Oh, because before the show, we were talking about this last week, right before the show. In fact, I think we mentioned it. We should go back and check the episode, Mike, because we mentioned this other topic. We thought, hey, that'd be kind of a neat topic. And then this week, we couldn't remember what that is. I have no idea what it is. But I think maybe we mentioned it in the first part of the last episode. So I'll have to check, because maybe we'll have a good topic for next week that we just didn't know. Maybe we'll get lucky, have a good topic for next week that we didn't plan for.
there you go. We can't remember, but maybe you guys can help us remember. So you can like, subscribe, go back and listen to some of these past ones because they're gold. I'm going to tell you they're absolute gold, even in the past. I think we got better,
All of them.
right?
All of
over
them.
160, over 160. We've
Okay,
gotten better.
maybe not all of them are gold, but there's a lot of gold in there. There's the odd lump of coal, probably too, but there's a lot of gold in there. So make sure you subscribe, like, follow, all the rest. We're on all the networks and YouTube and everything else. So
All right, another good one, man. Another good one in the books. We got next week, and then it's our Cabo and travel week.
well, yeah, so we got one more before travel week, and then we'll pick it right up and carry it on all the way through to the end of the year and into our New Year's episode. So make sure you join us, everybody. Thanks.
There you go. See you later.
All right.